Good evening, everyone. We will begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kamzumarimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sume miyoya kamu izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachihana no odo no ahagi harani Misogi harai tamo toki ni narimaseru. Harai dono o kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegare o. Harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni Ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete kikoshi mese to kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kam nagara tamachi hae mase. Kam nagara tamachi hae mase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. Meishu-sama, bless you. Meishu-sama's teaching this evening is entitled The Great Law of Nature. It's found on the Daily Inspirations, page 84. As I marvel at the vast and expansive beauty of the sky, I'm always reminded of God's limitless, infinite love for me. There is always a reason for misfortune. The answer lies in the great law of nature, which governs all the universe. How can we measure or even begin to understand nature's process at work with our limited human mind? Where impurities accumulate as clouds in the visible spiritual realm, physical purification must occur according to the great laws of the universe. The purposes of fire, wind, and water are to act as natural purifiers of the earth and of the sky. The fire is cleansed, the winds blow, and the rains wash away the impurities. This is the reason storms occur. What causes the spiritual clouds that activate the storms? Human thoughts and words form them. Negative, harmful thoughts of discontent, hatred, jealousy, selfishness, resentment, falseness, and vengefulness form clouds and make the spiritual realm murky and dark. Malevolent spoken words, angry, abusive, condemning, deceitful, form clouds and dim the spiritual realm of speech, which is next in power to the spiritual realm of thought. When the accumulation of clouds reaches a certain magnitude, nature sets its own laws into action, and purification begins as it works to bring everything back into a harmonious condition. If left alone to accumulate still more, the negative vibrations formed would be extremely harmful to human life and welfare, as well as affecting the health of trees, vegetation, and especially of crops. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. Thank you for joining us in prayer for world peace. This evening, I want to share with you the faith experience of Amanda Gisele Pereira. She's from Curitiba, Brazil. Amanda has been a Johrei member for almost 5 years, and she currently gives service as an assistant to her minister at the Pinhais Johrei Center in the state of Paraná. She would like to share with us how she overcame misfortunes of illnesses through Johrei and the other practices of our faith. Amanda is now 30 years old, and since she was little, she suffered from serious respiratory problems, bronchitis, constant inflammation in her throat, and an intense asthmatic condition. She took a lot of antibiotics, anti-allergics, and corticosteroids, in addition to using 2 types of asthma inhalers 3 times a day. Even so, the bouts of shortness of breath did not stop, and she often passed out from the lack of oxygen. When she was 16 years old, her condition worsened, and she needed to be hospitalized at least once a month. Amanda had an unbalanced diet and consumed a lot of industrialized and ultra-processed foods. Her husband worked as a taxi driver, and in 2014, he took a passenger to a Johrei center. Along the way, the passenger talked about how her life had changed after meeting our church. Amanda's husband told her what had happened, and they both became very interested. Sometime later, they went to visit the Johrei Center. Coincidentally, they were attended by the same lady who spoke about our church in the taxi. Since then, they began to attend the center regularly. After overcoming a purification in her womb, Amanda decided to be useful to others. Thus, in 2017, she and her husband became Johrei members. In 2018, Amanda joined a training program to study Meishu-sama's teachings held at the Johrei Center and began to read the divine writings frequently. In this way, she became aware of the purification process and the true cause of illness. She decided to change her attitude towards purifications. Instead of treating them with palliative drugs, Amanda decided to seek true health through the intensive practice of Johrei and consuming natural foods. She received on average an hour of Johrei daily and gradually reduced the use of medication. At the same time, she radically changed her eating habits. She almost totally eliminated the consumption of processed foods and increased the intake of vegetables and fruits. In times of crisis, she tried to overcome them with the Johrei given by her husband. Initially, they lasted about an hour. Then it went to 30 minutes. After approximately 4 months, with 5 minutes of Johrei, she felt fully recovered. At this point, the dosage of her medication was minimal, and she used the pump on average only once a month. Her body started to purify. She had successive cases of diarrhea and flu, in which she eliminated a large amount of toxins. Her breathing gradually improved, and the wheezing in her chest was decreasing. In February of 2019, she felt safe enough to no longer resort to medications, which he completely stopped using. In April of the same year, she had a cough, shortness of breath, and symptoms that she was not used to, such as back pain and fever. She looked for a health clinic, and after an x ray exam, Amanda was diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs. She sought out her minister and expressed the desire to remain steadfast in the pursuit of allowing her body to naturally cleanse. The minister clarified that, given the severity of her purification, Amanda would need to significantly intensify her dedication to our practice of faith. Following her minister's guidance, Amanda received daily at least 10 Johrei at the Johrei Center. At home, her husband channeled to her for several hours, and sometimes well into the night. Thereafter, she began to consume exclusively nature farmed foods and from organic sources. With that, her body gained strength, and during 3 weeks, Amanda eliminated an impressive amount of dark colored and intense smelling phlegm, besides having fever and diarrhea. It was exactly as she read in Meishu-sama's teachings. She was undergoing a major cleansing. At one point, she was exhausted and insecure. However, with her minister's follow up, the support of her husband, and faith in Meishu-sama, gave her strength to continue the practice of faith recommended to her. After that period, with her health already restored, she visited her doctor, who performed another x ray and did not find any traces of pneumonia. On the contrary, her lungs were in perfect condition, as if there had never been a case of respiratory problems. Since then, Amanda has not had any symptoms of bronchitis, asthma, or sore throats. She still went through some episodes of the common flu, in which she had the opportunity to eliminate many toxins. Amanda overcame them all with Johrei, and after each one of them, she felt her health became strengthened. Currently, her breathing is absolutely normal. She can walk, run, and ride a bike without fear of getting sick. With this experience, Amanda solidified her belief in Johrei, in the divine writings, and in the importance of natural foods for true health. As an expression of gratitude, she is dedicating her life to serving Meishu-sama, and currently gives service at least 8 hours a day from Monday to Friday. She strives to practice at least 20 Johrei on dedication days, provides religious assistance, and talks about Meishu-sama to people wherever she is. In this way, she has already had the permission to guide 41 people to our faith, and her goal is, still this year, to guide 100 new members to the divine work. to materialize their gratitude and commitment to the work of realizing paradise on earth, Amanda and her husband will have this month the dedication of the Divine Scroll in their home. Amanda is extremely grateful to God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for allowing her to overcome these purifications and to free herself from the countless medicines that have accompanied her for most of her life, and to have her life transformed through our practice of faith. She is also thankful to her husband, who was by her side at all times, and her minister, whose guidance was of vital importance for her to overcome this long and arduous process of purification. Thank you very much for listening to this very wonderful, powerful faith experience. Wish you a very blessed evening. And with this concludes our evening service.